Okay, here we are for science. Okay, so you need to show your mamas your best drawing that you did this week of your respiratory system, your digestive system, the heart, the skin, and the skeleton. Okay, so you have 5 drawings to show your mom. You are going to do your skin assessment today. Okay, so get your stuff cleared off, get you a blank piece of paper, how your mama wants you to do that. And then if you want to put some music on or if you just need it quiet, that's up to you. And then do your assessment of your skin, of your cross-section of your skin, and then have your mama check that. After you do your assessment of the skin, and that's assessment, so you have no keys out, no nothing, your mama will check that. Then after you have that all done, so however long that takes you, if that's 15, 20 minutes, do that, and then come back to this part of the video. But after you have your assessment and you have that done, you're going to draw and label from memory as much as you can your skeleton. So this is not an assessment. This is what we would have done in class after we did our assessment. We would use the 2-ink method. So draw as much as you can in pencil. And then come back in with an orange or green or whatever color and fill in what you know, or what you didn't know from your key. And then use that this week, because next week we assess the skeleton. Use that 2-ink method paper that you just did to know, okay, this is what I've got to focus on the skeleton. Okay, so you can go and do that, pause the video, and then come back to the next step. Today we are introducing the brain. It is on page 141 in your guide, so in the anatomy section in the back. I have the one that has the labels on it pulled up. You'll have a blank one back there. So you're going to go to 141 and look at that. So we have the cerebrum, that's the whole section, and then the frontal lobe is in that. We have the temporal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, the cerebellum, and then I'm going on the bottom, spinal cord, and coming up, the medulla oblongata, the pons, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the corpus callosum, and then we're back up at the cerebrum. If there are any one that I mispronounced, let me know to make sure we have our as close as possible as their technical definitions. Okay. Looks like we have 13 that you're going to label. Remember, the cerebrum is the whole front. So I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so we have 13 that you'll be labeling and drawing this week. Okay, I'm trying to keep a track of my time because I want to read out of our book, More Than Meets the Eye. And you can just listen to me read while you're drawing the brain. Because you're gonna, just like we would in class, you're gonna sit and listen to me and draw your brain. This will be our first drawing of the brain that we'd kind of do together with the video. Okay. This week you are going to continue your drawing and your labeling of all your systems and all your organs that we've covered so far. You are focusing on the skeleton. This is your review week for skeleton, and this is your intro week for brain. So skeleton or brain are going to be your heavy ones that you're working on each day. But then also review the respiratory system, the digestive system, the heart, the skin, and the skeleton. Oh, no, the skeleton we're already working on. But don't lose the respiratory, digestive, the heart, and the skin also. Keep those in. When I send the email, you'll kind of see how I have that, that stacked up. I do want to comment before I start reading on blue books and dissection. Now, I still plan on having this dissection. If we're outside at my house or a park and we are doing this, we should still be able to meet. I think if we have a sunny day, we kind of scoot everybody apart, that we can still do these dissections. So that is my plan going forward. So know that. And then... Okay, I think that's it. So as you're listening to me, keeping an eye on our time, because I only have a certain amount of time before YouTube will not upload my video. So we're talking about the brain this week, the beautiful, beautiful brain. Okay, so as you listen to me, you're just going to be drawing your brain, drawing and labeling your first, first drawing of our brain. And this is just a couple of pages, so I should be able to finish it. The brain. In man is a 3-pound brain, which as far as we know is the most complex and orderly arrangement of matter in the universe. Thus wrote scientist and author Isaac Asimov. In so stating, it appears to me that he was giving God a compliment, even though he remained an avowed atheist until his death in 1992. The brain, the pride and joy of the nervous system, is staggering in its abilities and complexity. Despite all of our modern scientific research, we are only beginning to penetrate the brain's secrets. The basic cell of the brain is called the neuron, of which there are 10 billion, and some estimate as high as 100 billion. This seems like a large number, but it requires only 33 doublings of the first neuron cell to arrive at the 10 billion. In addition to long extensions called axons, each neuron has 10,000 tiny branching fibers and filamentous projections called dendrites, a name derived from the Greek word for tree. Each neuron is thus in contact with 10,000 other neurons for a total of 100 trillion neurological interconnections. No way this just happened. If you were to stretch out all the neurons and dendritic connections in the brain and lay them end to end, they would reach for 1,000 miles and circle the Earth at the equator 4 times. One way to visualize these dendritic connections is as light switches in either the off or on position. The brain holds 10 to the 14th power bits of information, and thus has a storage capacity of 1,000 times that of a Cray 2 supercomputer. The capacity of the brain is such that it can hold information equivalent to that contained in 25 million books, enough to fill a bookshelf 500 miles long. In contrast, the Library of Congress has 17 million volumes. The DNA, I'm not even going to try to say that word. Okay, deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA for short, based human genome is spectacular in its own right, as we shall see in the next chapter, but the human brain has 10,000 times the capacity for storing information as the human genome. Assuming that 10% of the brain cells are firing at any given time, this implies a rate of 1,000 trillion computations per second. It makes you wonder why balancing the checkbook is so hard when our brain can do all of that. Unlike the parts of a computer, nerve cells are highly individual. No two cells are exactly the same, nor do they respond to the same incoming information in the same way. Each neuron is unique in all the universe. God, it seems, really outdid himself. Even though the brain triples in size from birth to adulthood, we do not add any new neurons. The orthodox position for decades has been that the neurons don't replace themselves and don't regenerate. They are capable of living for 100 years, but when they die, they die. When it happens, we have no choice but to subtract 1 from the IQ column. Now, however, new research indicates that neurological regeneration does indeed happen, and perhaps commonly, still the clinical fact remains. Neurological disease and injury are almost always tragically permanent and irreversible. Okay, so our brain is capable of doing all of this, and our Creator created that. So can you imagine if all this bits that we are able to hold, this 25 million books and bits of information that we have, what the Lord is able to do when He created, billions of us, and each brain has the capacity to do such amazing things. I think it just reflects back to the capacity and greatness of our Creator. So, again, this book, More Than Meets the Eye, is what we read out of each week. So, again, practicing your skeleton this week and brain. Brain is our focus. Do your definitions. Practice those on Quizlet, or define them and use them on flashcards. However you want to do that. Keep those definitions for what those parts of the body do, what they are and what they do. Okay, I think that's it for science. If you have questions, let me know.